In studio right now is Anessa Carbone, the Westwood building owner. And Anessa, you have a new corner market downtown. And I said it's kind of like feels a little old-fashioned, but this is a new concept, a new approach to something that was old-fashioned.
It is. We the whole building is a little bit old-fashioned. We went with the urban industrial feel to the whole building, and then we carried that into the corner store, which is called Street Corner Urban Market. And, we modeled it a little bit after the old-fashioned corner market where they didn't have big grocery stores.
Now, is it a chain or is it just something that it is?
It's a franchise.
So this is a franchise that you see in downtown areas where there are loft apartments and people are living now, which is the big change.
Yes. The franchise actually started as a convenience store franchise, and it's kind of morphed into something that is supporting these downtown industrial areas where lofts are coming up and people don't really have access to cars, kind of get rid of their cars, want to be able to walk from here to there.
And what can you find in this store?
In this store, you can almost find all of your basic essentials. So there'll be one or two different brands of almost every item. You can get your paper towels, your toilet paper, your laundry detergent. We have some fresh meats. As we grow, we want to offer more fresh meat products. But right now, if you want to, we just placed a grill out back for our tenants. And if you want to go grill some burgers,
that's cool.
You can grab some hamburgers. You might have to defrost them depending on where we're at.
But you get grill.
But we have a grill and we have burgers, and you can get your cheese. And we just set up a barbecue setting, so you can get the flipper for the barbecue, that kind of thing. You can get corn, you can get fresh produce, some fresh fruits. Again, the selection's going to be limited, but if you're in the mood for a watermelon, we've got that out. We've got grab and go. You can get sandwiches. You can get a lot of snacks. Frozen foods, just pretty much a variety of everything that you might need that day. We have ice cream, both Ben and Cherries, and Halo seems to be the big thing now.
You're bringing it is big, right? Because it's lower carbs and all of that. So it's bringing me back to when I lived in Providence, and I lived up near the Armory, and there's a place called the Hudson Street Market, and it was 2 blocks from my loft apartment, which I lived in a loft there. And it was one of those where if you didn't want to drive all the way downtown into the city to go to the grocery store, you just walked to the Hudson Street Market, and you can pick up everything. The only thing you don't have is subs, but yes, you do.
Yes, we do.
So, because they have these giant subs,
and
you have the same
with
thing.
Jimmy John's, which I'll give you a plug. My husband's store,
That's
but
your
it's
place.
probably 2 blocks. It's 2 steps away in the same building. So he does the cold subs and the chips and that, and then we do hot sandwiches, pizzas. All of the other desserts. Nice. We have little cheesecakes.
It's exactly what this is. It's exactly what I remember when I lived there. It's an easy walk. So.
And much needed for, we just talked about all the lofts in downtown.
Yeah,
even the businesses. Like I had lunch there the other day because, there's a lot of options, but it was one more really good option for if you're working down there.
You saw the cheesecake, huh? You're like, I got to go in there.
I smelled it.
And I will tell you, when you're making stuff like that, you get a taste of something. Whenever I go back to Providence, I don't need to pick up any, like tomatoes or something. I always go up for the sandwiches and the salsa. They have an amazing salsa up there. And I'm assuming you're going to create that same type of thing.
We're in the process of creating that. We started with a limited number of sandwich options so that we could get really good at it. Yeah. But Street Corner offers an extensive menu. We're going to do catering. We're going to get into all of that food service end. We really hope, like on a Saturday, I'll go down to the building. My son lives on the 5th floor. A lot of his friends live there. We'll pull out a Scrabble game. We sit on the sidewalk. We've put tables out on the sidewalk. Cool. Want to get into gelato in the summer. So we just want to create that downtown experience while you're staying there.
I have to ask you, with the hospital going there, it seems like that's something that people are counting on. Did the hospital play any role in your investment downtown?
Not really, because, we've all, and I'm not saying Nano's not coming or is coming, but we've all kind of heard that there's going to be these big booms and, nothing's done till it's done. I will be very excited if the hospital comes, because certainly that will make this investment a little bit more sound.
So your initial was the thinking of you're thinking about Nano coming in.
No, actually, it wasn't. The reason that I had the courage, I guess, to take this step was what happened with the Comets and the Odd.
Okay.
You know, I saw what Rob did and his partners, and I saw how successful the Comets were and how it changed that area. The other reason to do this was I have a son who's 24 years old. He's got a lot of friends that are really smart and they could work anywhere. A lot of them wanted to stay here.
Yeah.
They didn't have a good housing option. These kids don't want to get married at 24 anymore, so they don't want to own a house.
Right.
And they do rent down along Rutger Street and down in that area. But it's a very isolated existence when you're renting a place down there and you don't have a lot of friends around you. He'd come home at night and there wouldn't be a lot of people to socialize with, and the socialization all had to happen down on Varick Street. And that's not really a mentally healthy way to live.
Yeah.
So we created a really great environment for 24 to 40. I've got 40-year-olds. We actually have two elderly women living in our building. But it's when you come home at night, you run into people you know. It's a pretty social environment. You don't have to be alone. You can be alone. That was the reason for doing the Westwood. Then Street Corner just came out of, if we're going to do the building, what do we do with the first floor commercial space?
Right.
And we put out a Facebook post asking people in downtown, what do you need? We've got this commercial area. What do you need to have happen down here? And pretty much everybody in downtown said, we need a grocery store. We need a place to stop.
So you're a lifelonger.
I am.
And, we've watched over the years these boons that have occurred and these opportunities that seemed like there was a big resurgence and it just kind of fizzled and didn't happen. It feels like it's happening this time. Would you agree? And what do you think, if the hospital happens, God forbid, if Nano does, something goes up there, the Nexus Center, you have all these things that are happening. So starting with, this one feels different. And then follow up with, what do you think it's all going to look like in 5 years?
What I hope it's all going to look like in 5 years is completely different. My son's apartment is on the 5th floor. And when you look out his windows, and his whole front apartment is a wall of windows, it's just a very cool space. And you see that painting on the building there of the sunshine right in front of the DoubleTree. And it's such a cool feel. Yeah. And then if you look to the left, you can close your eyes and see the hospital. It's 2 blocks away, and it would take the place of some of the buildings that are there now, and it would be an amazing view. Yeah. I mean, it would just be like you had transformed yourself into a different city.
Right.
It will be an awesome place to live and to work, and I see that all these other little businesses now are starting to pop up around there, and that's what it takes. We have 2 tenants that I stay down at the market and talk to everybody that comes through quite a bit. But we had 2 tenants, and one of them was having his girlfriend was having her birthday, and they got all dressed up, and they came down from the 3rd floor, and they stopped at the market, and they got a cup of coffee, and they walked down to Modus, and they had a lovely meal, came back down, picked up some beer and some White Claw. Yeah. Sat in our lobby where we have tables and things to do, and then told his mother the next day that was the coolest experience. It's the first time we've been able to live downtown, get dressed up, walk to where we're going to dinner, have a great meal, walk back. I feel like I'm in a real city.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's what we're starting to create, and in Utica, I really think it's going to happen. I really do. With the hospital, with Nexus, with the Comets, with the soccer team, there seems to be a ball that's rolling that isn't going to be stopped. Yeah. And I do believe that the Nano site will be used. There's such an investment and there's so much energy behind it that I do believe that site will be occupied. It will create jobs. Got SUNY Poly right there, and you've got really bright kids coming out of that school that need employment. It's with the right leadership, and I think we have that right now in our mayor, in our county executive, in our congressman, in our senator. I think they're all working together. Yeah. This is the most exciting time I felt in Utica in probably 30 years.
So this one does feel real.
It does.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
it's,
I've bet pretty
happening.
much my livelihood
Yeah.
on it. So
You're all in now. Darn well
I'm
better
all
be.
in.
Yeah.
I need this to happen.
Yeah. All right. Nessa Carbone, thank you. Congratulations on the investment down there, and we're all excited to see what it's all going to look like in the end. So.
We'll see you next year, and I'll
Cool.
tell you where we're at.
All right. Sounds good.